The King, the Hare, and the Tortoise. Once upon a time, there lived a king in his small but beautiful kingdom on an island in the middle of the Indian Ocean. He had a lake whose water level became alarmingly low, almost dry. He kept waiting for the clouds to appear so that rains would come and his lake would fill up. The sunshine, in fact, became brighter each day, and the sky remained without a puff of cloud on the horizon. He alerted his minister to keep a watch and give him a daily report. Nothing happened. The lake was almost dry now. He called an emergency meeting and asked if anyone knew how to summon the rains. Nobody came up with an answer. One day, a drunk sailor was heard singing shanties. Everyone gathered around him to listen to his fascinating stories about pirates on the high seas. He said he had met up with an old giant spider called Grandma Spider, who could summon the rains. One of the fellows who listened to the stories went to the king's minister to let out the secret he had heard. The minister, upon hearing him, dismissed his words, thinking he was drunk at the time. However, upon hearing the story, the king lost no time and sent a notice across the island. Anyone who could find Grandma Spider and ask her the secret for calling the rains would be well rewarded. No one came forth to carry out the mission. In desperation, the king decided to send his beloved horse.
My dear horse, I have a mission for you. You are to go across the island to Sans Souci and meet the Grandma Spider there. Ask her the secret to fill my lake with rainwater. Yes, sire, I am at your disposition as always.
The horse left with wings on its heels. The road was long and he had to stop a few times to rest. He finally reached the cave where Grandma Spider lived.
Grandma Spider, where are you?
A very big spider came out, dressed in human clothes, and called out in a tired, shriveled voice. "Who is there?"
It is me, the king's horse, Grandma. Sorry to bother you, but I've been sent by the sire himself to ask you how to get water. His lake has dried out.
The horse asked the spider Grandma politely. "Oh, no problem. Tell the sire to cut the Tambalacoque." Thanking the grandma, the horse made his way back. The road was long. He got tired and he had to rest and eat some grass. His tummy full, he was light-hearted and pranced his way back to the king, singing how much he loved his feed of the lush grass. When he reached the castle and came in front of the king, he suddenly was confused.
So, what is the secret? Tell me now,
asked the king. The poor horse had forgotten the name and could only mutter grass. So the king, taking it for an answer, got all the grass mowed. But the lake didn't fill with water. With such failure, the king banishes the horse to the lower paddocks. Next, he called his favorite cow and promptly sent her on the mission. The cow was not as quick as the horse, but reached Grandma Spider's cave.
Grandma Spider, I've been sent by the king to ask you the secret of rain-making and filling his lake with water.
Well, didn't that horse tell him?
I don't know about that, Grandma, but the king is desperate and is waiting for your answer.
All right, cow. Tell him to cut the Tambalacoque. Thanking Spider Grandma, the cow slowly made her way back. But she was a glutton and the journey had made her famished. So she stopped by a field and ate till her tummy became twice the size it was before. However, in the process, she started itching. She had ingested some Lalian lang, which was notoriously bad for cows. So her journey back to the king wasn't comfortable. When she reached the king's pavilion to deliver her answer, all she could do was think of the awful vine she had eaten. So she slurred her speech and just made up a name that came to her mind.
My dear sire, Grandma Spider said cut the ebony wood.
The king got all the ebony trees chopped down by his best lumberjacks, but no water came to the lake. The king was even more angry. He summoned the cow and banned her from the royal court to the countryside, where she had to walk for kilometers before finding grass each day. By now, the king was getting really edgy, pacing across the hall of his pavilion. His attendant Joseph, seeing the king in such a state, inched forward. "My dear sire, may I suggest a smarter animal to carry out this task, as I see with pain that others have failed?"
Yes, Joseph, speak. I want to hear if there is such an animal.
Joseph, the next day, brought the hare to the king.
So, you are the one Joseph says can carry out the mission smartly for me.
Sire, with all due respect, I certainly cannot believe how anyone but me could carry out such a mission. You have indeed among your subjects one of the smartest, fastest, wittiest, and cleverest. That's me, my dear sire, at your service,
said the hare confidently.
Very well then. So be it. You know what you have to do. I am warning you. If you come back with an answer that doesn't work, you will know the darkness of my dungeons right away.
Hare hopped among the hills, the meadows, and the forest, and soon reached Grandma's spider cave.
My greetings, Spider Grandma. I am Hare, sent on a royal mission by the king himself.
By now, Spider Grandma was really annoyed to be bothered for a third time by another envoy of the king. "I bet you want to know how to get water in the lake, am I right?" sneered the grandma.
I see. You've been waiting for this special royal envoy, my dear Grandma. Thank you very much. May I have the answer now, please?
"Ask the king to cut the Tambalacoque, and he will get water. This will be the last time I am giving you the answer." Hare thanked Grandma effusively and left. On the way, reaching the heights of Tamarind Falls, he stopped to rest and eat a bit. Soon he slept without noticing the time. When he woke up, he ran to the castle so he could deliver his message promptly to the king.
So, smart one, what is the answer? I am all ears.
Sire, your devoted subject indeed has the answer. Grandma Spider said that you should cut
But all he could remember was the lush, wide, leafy badamier tree under which he dozed. He remembered nothing of what he was told. He had to think quickly so that he is not thrown into the dungeons. He thought, what the heck, it was a tree, right? So be it, I shall tell the king about a tree.
Sire, you ought to cut down the badamier tree, and it will rain,
he told the king confidently. So all the badamier of the kingdom got chopped. No rain, not a drop of water reached the lake. The king was livid. He called his cook and gave the hare to his skilled hands. That evening, the royal table had hare stew piping hot, waiting to be served to everyone. That's how the hare finished his days. In the morning, an alarmed and sweating minister came to knock at His Majesty's chamber door, huffing and puffing, while the king was fuming to be so roughly woken up. The minister said, "Sire, all my apologies, but it is a matter of extreme urgency."
It better be, Minister, otherwise you know the dungeons won't have any problems accommodating you.
"Sire, there is a tortoise who wants attendance with your majesty. He claims he can do the mission successfully. Shall I let him in?" So the tortoise walked slowly and greeted the king by sticking out its wrinkly neck and scaly head.
Tortoise, what makes you think you can carry out this mission successfully? You'd better be right. I have lost patience for all bluffers.
Sire, be calm. We can achieve a lot in peace. I just know I can. For the rest of you have to trust me. For the worst, you can cook me. You know how my meat is juicy and tasty. However, I am sure there'll be no need for that. You may have to find some veggies to eat instead.
The king swallowed his annoyance and gave in for the last time. He really didn't know what else to do to fill up the lake. His subjects were suffering, their crops failing, their animals thirsty, and even his royal bathtub was dry too. He had to have a tiny bit of water for his daily ablutions. That was all. It was a situation which couldn't last any more. So the tortoise took his time and made his way to Grandma's cave. "Who goes there?" asked the aged spider.
I'm terribly sorry to bother you, Grandma, but here's the situation.
He told Grandma about what's happening with the country devoid of water. It was urgent that the lake be filled as soon as possible. Grandma Spider was listening with one ear only, knitting her web for warmer days. She could not any longer weave daily. She had to recycle old cobwebs to make new sturdy ones. She was the least concerned about what the king was preoccupied with, nor ready to give the secret for a fourth time. "Listen, Tortoise, I am too old to entertain so many visits now. I told your last predecessor, what's his name? Hare, I think. Go and ask him."
I can't, Grandma. Comrade Hare was killed and turned into supper, and it may be my turn now if you don't give me an answer. The kingdom will come to a disastrous end.
Okay, I understand. Tell the king to cut the Tambalacoque and he will get water. Tortoise, breathing in relief, made his way back, staying focused and repeating,
Tambalacoque, 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 Tambalacoque.
so he would not forget. He did not stop for rest, water, or food. His throat was parched, but he still carried on repeating the answer. Upon reaching the king's attendance hall, he saw that the audience was full. Everyone was waiting for him.
Tortoise, this time I have taken my precautions. My cook is here, his knives sharpened, masala already ground, potatoes peeled, all are waiting to turn you into a curry.
There is no need for it, sire. Cut down the Tambalacoque trees.
What? Not again? Do you know how many trees have been cut down in the country? No wonder no clouds can form. No clouds means no rain. No rainfall means no water in the lake.
I know, sire. Stay calm. I am also very sorry for all the loss of trees, as it is difficult even to find shelter from the sun. I remember clearly that Grandma Spider said, cut the Tambalacoque.
Tortoise could now no longer talk out of thirst and fatigue. He passed out. The king accepted the advice and demanded that all the Tambalacoque trees should be chopped down. A miracle happened. Rain fell and water surged from everywhere. Soon the lake was full and even more water carried on, filling up 2 more lakes. The king was happy. People were happy. Animals were happy. Birds were happy. Fields were irrigated, vegetable gardens receiving their full watering too. Soon everywhere started looking lush and green. The king had his bath and a good clean scrub, coming out like a sparkling coin. Tortoise curry was never made. In fact, the king banned anyone hunting and eating tortoise. Tortoise lived for more than a century and never tired of telling the story to children that we should all focus on what is important for the benefit of the community. This shows how the ebony and Tambalacoque trees disappeared from the island. With the rain and new planting, other trees grew and kept the island green.